Hello, this is Linda Vetris Nichols, evolutionaryhealer.com, and I have with me the most amazing person, Kelly Epperson. Welcome, Kelly.
Well, hey Linda, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. This is going to be so incredible. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about your history. You've done some amazing things in your life and wrapped around books that you absolutely love. I'm not much of a reader. I'll only read things I'm super interested in the subject matter. And I'm an author. I've written a book and I've been in a comp book as well. And it's like people are like, you're an author and you're not a reader? That's like really weird. So I'm sure you're an avid reader as well as an avid author.
And you are a minority, let me tell you. 80% of the population wants to be an author. Well, I guess you're in that population. But yeah, books matter. Books are where we still get our information and our inspiration. It doesn't matter if we read, our Kindle books, our e-readers, or print books. We still look to books for that information, for that uplift, for the creativity enhancers. Books are magic. They are magic, absolutely.
Yes, yes. And how did you get started with books?
I have always loved books. I was an English major and an accounting major, but I went with the accounting, like, oh, go with the sure thing. So I actually became an IRS agent out of college. Yeah, whole nother story there.
Yeah.
But I have found my way back to my true north, which is the writing, the written word.
Nice. Very cool. And you also run a like a happiness club, right? You're into the joy,
Yes.
what brings
Yeah.
people joy. Yes. Very cool. All right. So, while I'm bringing down your slides, why don't you just tell us just a little bit more about your history and, well, or even like what you've done helping people with books?
As a ghostwriter, I have written more than 25 books. I've stopped counting after 25. Writing books for other people to help them get their story out into the world. And I have written some for New York Times best-selling authors. One book sold 3 million copies. Um,
Wow.
and I cannot disclose who that person was, but and I book coach and edit, so I help anyone get their heart and soul, their message into the printed word.
Cool. Very, very cool. All right. So, yes, and your business is Birth of That Book. I love that. So bringing your book to life is what you're going to talk about today. So tell us more about that.
Many times people have something inside of them that they want to share, and expressing it in writing is different. I think most people, we know that we have a fear of public speaking. Sometimes people have a fear of public writing. Putting it
Okay.
in black and white can be intimidating for some people. So that is, as a book coach, that is what I help people really get down to the clarity of what it is they want to write and why they want to write it. Like with all things, knowing our why matters. And it's the
Yep.
same with your book.
Wonderful. Okay. So say yes to you, meaning how does that fit?
A lot of times I work with clients and they have many ideas for books. They have several. I think most of us have many books in us, and for them to decide what book to come first sometimes trips people up.
Right.
And um, we listen to all of those outside voices telling us what to do, as we often do too much with life in general. But
Yep.
a business coach is saying, oh, you should really write your book on your 7 steps to marketing. And yet the person is like, but what I really want to write about is, ooh, and they have a different topic. So I help them come to that reconciliation within themselves. And so sometimes it is saying no to the guru, because the ultimate guru is our inner wisdom, and that
Right.
never ever steers us wrong. And when we step into that, That's when we step into our bigger purpose. And the whole book writing process really helps people get deeper clarity and insight into what they do, why they do it, who they want to do it, how they want to do it. So it's so much more than, just the book. And that's
Right.
what lights me up, helping people come to these bigger awarenesses.
Hmm. Very cool. All right. And so kind of part of the, oops, we lost your light.
Yeah.
Part of the process then is to get started is to get quiet. Is that what you're saying there?
Yeah, I help people figure out what writing ritual works for them because when it comes to birthing your book, a lot of people think they have writer's block or they feel stuck because they've messed up the steps. But really, writing is step three. The first step is nailing your purpose, and that's what I help people get clear on. Some of that what we kind of just touched on. And step two is the prep work, and that is when you really do start preparing yourself to allow the words to come through you. And
Yes.
so to do that, getting quiet, different rituals work for different people. So I help
Right.
each client, figure out what is right for them. For some people, it really is meditation. For some, it could be going for a walk. Sometimes people just need to light a candle, and then that just tells them, okay, I'm in this is my writing space, and I'm going to, have these words come through me. I have one gal who she says she stands on her head before she writes. I would never prescribe that as something to do, but if that works for her, go for it.
Except
So,
for the gymnasts.
you know, certainly
I
not
love
me.
it. Yeah,
But
certainly not you, right? I like that. Okay. So you're expecting people to just trust the process. So tell us more about the process.
yeah, that is sort of what I was talking about when you can start to trust the process and trust yourself. So when you know that you can answer these inner questions of, why this book now and who are you to write this, when you really start to claim your it's more than just expertise. It's like claim your passion for it, claim like your big why of why you are the one to write this message right now. That is the first part of the process. And then the second part of the process is, going through the content, which we don't have time to go through today, but I help people, organize the structure, the framework. People like that nuts and bolts part of it. And then
Right.
step is the actual writing. So if you are working with both sides of the yes, there is a structure, a system, and yes, you also allow for the magic to happen. When you can trust that process, you begin to trust yourself. And that's the bigger part of it. You really step into your bigger purpose and the intangibles that are really exciting.
It sounds like as a book coach, you really have cornered the market, so to speak, on how to keep people out of writer's block or get them out if they get there. Is that what makes you so unique as a book coach?
Oh, absolutely. I I don't even think writer's block really exists. It's just like with anything we are resisting. But there's all kinds of fun ways. Sometimes I have people color for a couple minutes to get them in their creative mood. And we are like right now, coloring is all over the place in the news, the adult coloring
Yeah.
books. I've been preaching the magic of coloring for years. And there is a study that shows that smelling a Crayola crayon lowers our blood pressure. So, yeah, it works for stress busting. So, any of the tips that are like stress busting tips are also going to help you with releasing your creativity and any inhibitions about, putting your words to paper.
Right.
Sometimes
Yeah,
these things,
coloring is a state of active meditation, and it really gets you to the level of your soul. It gets all the memes, all the extra clutter in your head out, and it's just you. And I love doing the Zen art because of that. So circle back to your purpose. What do you mean by that? Just like what you have to say? to the world, or what's your definition of circle back to your purpose?
It helps people when they do sit down to write that they have really nailed down their purpose. And I always have somebody write their what we just call their sticky note wisdom that they will put on their computer so that they look to that. And it's always reminding them of, why are they writing it, or who are they writing it for? And then once they get going, sometimes, our human brains take over and we start to feel like we forget why we're doing it. So that's why I say circle back to your purpose. Know why are you writing this and who is going to benefit from it? What is that reader going to know now, or what would they feel now, or what will they do differently? So it's just reminding yourself of like, oh yeah, I want middle-aged divorced women to know that they will find love again, or whatever your topic is, so it's like when you remind yourself of that is why you're doing this, you're always circling back and you're always reminding yourself of the whole point of why you're doing this anyway.
Cool. I like that. Have you read the book Stephen King on Writing?
Yes, I love that book. I recommend that to everyone.
I bet you do. That is the coolest book. I really enjoyed reading that. And like I said, I'm not much of a reader, but when I read, man, it is cover to cover with a pen in hand. I underline, and my poor husband, Terry Earthwind Nichols, always knows read the book before she does because he is so visual. He can't tolerate all the lines and all the scribbles on the page. So he always says she wrecks my books. So I always make sure to offer him the opportunity to read it first because I always remind him, what it's going to look like when I get done with it. I read Women Who Run with the Wolves, divorce and post-divorce, and I tell you, there's probably not a word that isn't underlined. That's such a deep read. Have you read that one too, Kelly?
No, but that's on my long list.
I
And
know, right?
I love marking up books. That's what I still love print books. Even if I'm like on a plane and I'll read something on my Kindle, it's like, oh, I love that book. I have to buy it. And then I buy the physical book so I can mark it up. And
Yeah, yeah,
so
absolutely. Not big on Kindle myself. Okay, and what do you mean by cut the cord? What does that mean?
that is absolutely trusting the process. And there comes a time when you have to birth that baby. You have to put it
Yeah,
out into the world. You have to cut the cord and say, this is my love offering. And sometimes we get that perfectionist tendency where we think, oh, I could go back and polish it one more time, or and there it just comes a point where you have to trust your editor and say, yes, this is good work and it will help somebody, and I'm going to
nice.
cut and release.
Yeah, I love it. You can always do another edition. But I think it was James Dobson way back in the late 90s said, at one point you need to throw the monster to the world because at one point you just get so sick of it and it doesn't seem like it's good. In fact, you don't even know what you have. And that was fun for me to go back to my book and just read it as a reader. And it's like, who wrote this? This is really good. And a lot of it was just the stories of the families I had helped, in the day that I had my Whole Child Institute. So that's really cool. So I like that cut the cord. That makes a lot of sense to me as well. All right. So write to one person. I think that is the greatest tip, and I hadn't heard that before. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, we think we're writing to the masses, and we are, but really you're having a conversation with one person, writing to that one person. If you connect with them, you will connect with many. So
Mm,
just hold a person, and it can be a real person or it can be a composite of people that you know who really need your stuff.
okay.
And you're just writing to them, and you're connecting with them, and you're talking with them, and you're wanting it to make sure it relates to them and engages them and keeps them, and it just makes it so much easier on you as the writer because you're just really thinking of it as an information share. It's an interaction between two people.
Right. I love it. Cool. And it's like writing a love letter, you're saying. Wow. How does that work?
Yeah, that's how I see, like, our book is um, It serves two purposes, and it's the love letter going out into the world, and it's also a magnet, which is pulling people into your world. So that is why you upfront do the upfront thinking it through stuff, the purpose and what I just call the upfront big thinky stuff. And then you know like who am I sending love to and who do I want to bring into my world? And once they're in my world, what more am I going to do with them? How more can I serve them?
Love it. Very cool. And what about connecting with self? I think we've gone over some of that, but at this point, when you're writing one person, what's the part about connecting with yourself?
Staying in that connection with yourself and always coming from the core of you and what your message is. And again, it's just this continual reminder of when you can stay connected with yourself and your message, that is how you connect with your audience, with that one person. And so usually books are not written in one sitting. Usually we have to come back at it. So every time you sit down to write, you just ground yourself again, you get centered again, you connect with yourself, and then you're able to connect with that one person that you are writing this love letter to.
Wow. Great, great advice. I love it. Okay, so in summary, it's you're saying yes to you and then trust the process and write to one person. So why don't you summarize what all you've been saying here for us?
When it comes to birthing your book, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Trust yourself. If you have this burning desire to write this book or many books, just know that you have that for a reason, and you are meant to share these words, these stories, your mission, your message, your movement, whatever it is, and say yes to that and trust your gut wisdom, the very core of you, and let that guide you, and trust the
Nice.
process. Always have a good editor, and
Yeah.
just know that you're when you do connect with that one person, it will catch fire and it will connect with many.
Very cool. I have a question for you about editors. I've heard the word content editor. So do you get an editor and then you get a content editor? Is there a difference in those terms?
A content editor, a developmental editor, is somebody who is, it's a more of a heavy edit. And with my book coach clients, I am editing as they go. So it's concurrent editing. So that is content editing, developmental editing. And you can do that with a completed manuscript as well. You turn over, you like say, here's I've polished it as good as I can, and now I know it needs loving. And the content editor will rearrange and will make sure that, it's structured, it's organized, and that's more than just um, grammar and the polishing part. So it's just
Right. Cool. All right. I was always wondering about that. Okay. So, and you have on the are you done summarizing? I should check in with you though.
I could talk all day if you want.
I know, right? You have the most amazing gift for us as well. 5 instant stress busting cures. That is so important when one is writing. So tell us a little bit more about your gift.
That is just tips that you can use. It's just easy, 2 minutes or less. And it's, like I said, a stress busting or writer's block busting. To me, they go hand in hand, because when we're all tensed up and we think we can't do something, whether it's writing or anything, these little golden nuggets will help you break free and unleash your creativity and just help you relax into your true self.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And you can go back to your email for you viewers. You go back to your email, and her link is right there. You can click on Kelly's link and get right straight out to her opt-in for her free gift. So thank you again, Kelly, for that.
Well, thank you.
Alrighty then. Yeah, you are the go-to girl for books, aren't you? This is so nice to have you out in the world.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to wrap up with? Do you have maybe a little story of someone that you've worked with and, kind of a little transformation story of one of your clients that might
There's
summarize this?
That's what I love is the intangibles that happen. There is a thrill when people have that completed book. I mean, it is a joy, as you know.
Hmm.
And I also love all the intangibles that come where people really do get deeper insight and now they know like, oh, I really want to work with this specific kind of person. Or I had one gal and she's like, holy cow, I didn't realize the value I offered my people. I really can charge more. Um,
Oh.
so different things. And another gal who said, people told me once I became an author, I could charge more for client gigs and speaking gigs. And she goes, it's true, you really can charge more. Um, there is the monetary side of it too, where it does open all kinds of doors. Yes, you will sell books and you get so many opportunities. And that's why most of my clients come. They want the opportunities. I just got a gushing thank you note from a gal who is a holistic doctor, and she just did her book, and now her patients are being interviewed on different radio stations about their miraculous journeys, and she said she's just getting tons of new clients into her center, so she's just over the moon happy with what's going on with it.
So
Yeah.
yes, great marketing tool.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, well, thank you again for coming and doing this. This is super informative. And like you said, everybody's got a book in there, right? Okay, well, thanks again, Kelly.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.